Hello and welcome to Art with Mr. P. This week we're looking at some 3D or three-dimensional artwork. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if I take a flat piece of paper and I put a drawing or a painting on the surface of it, that work we describe as two-dimensional. But I can add a third dimension by taking the surface of the work and bending it or changing the shape of it so that not only do we now have height and width, but we've got depth as well, which means that you can actually now walk around it and see the back of it and see the sides of it. Anyway, this is art. Let's be creative. Let's have fun. So the first task is to go and find yourself some discarded or unwanted packaging. Now, nothing too big, but nothing too small either, because we're going to papier-mâché these items. So I think probably this bottle is probably a bit on the large side, but I did find an old container that used to have salt in it. So it's essentially a plastic cylinder. You will need to make up some adhesive or paste as well. Now, I've made up some paste here. Some people have used wallpaper paste, but I'm not that keen on it because some wallpaper pastes, in actual fact probably most of them, have got fungicides in them and other things to stop things growing on your wallpaper once you've put it up. And essentially these are poisons, so be careful. I've got some wallpaper paste, but you can use 1 cup of flour to 2 cups of water, mix that thoroughly, and then put it in the microwave for a minute or so. Keep mixing, mix it up, and that will work as a paste just as well as this. Now, you will also need some newspaper, and you'll need to cut your newspaper up into small rectangles, just like I've done here already. So very, very simple. Take your piece of packaging and cover it with at least 4 layers of newspaper using the paste that you've got. Now, don't be tempted to try and cheat and stick big pieces on because they don't work nearly as well. Yeah. What tends to happen is that they wrinkle up. So we're sticking on bits of paper using this paste. So like I say, you might not actually have any papier-mâché paste. So you might want to mix 1 cup of flour with 2 cups of water. Mix it up thoroughly, no lumps, not too gloopy. Put it in the microwave for a minute, bring it out, mix up again, keep stirring until it's nice and fine. And that should work just as well as this paste. But just as you would expect, I've got papier-mâché paste in my cupboard. But then I would have, wouldn't I? Okay, so keep going, keep going, keep going, until you've put at least 4 layers of paper on there. Now, in this book, you can see a reproduction of a painting by an artist from 1945. The name of the artist is Mondrian. And Mondrian was very interested in, obviously, in shape and colour, but he was interested in rhythm as well. And what I mean by that is when your eye looks across this picture, it moves at different speeds depending upon which direction it's going and what you're looking at. So your eye would flick across there, that white rectangle in one go, but if it was going along this line, it would be a lot more staccato and it would probably go doop, 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 which would give your eye rhythm when passing over this painting. Now, I would like you to decorate the surface of the papier-mâché that you've produced. So you've covered your item in 4 layers. Give it a day or 2 to dry, and then cover the surface in a pattern of your choice. Now, if it were me doing it, if I were in primary 1, I would look at this Mondrian. Now we've done some collage, so you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll need a pair of scissors. And what I'm thinking is, thinking about that Mondrian that we were just looking at, the painting made up of lots of little rectangles, is that I might make my rectangles and then stick them down onto my 3D shape. I'm trying to make them as rectangular as possible here. So we're looking for straight edges. Now you don't have to use Mondrian as your inspiration. You might want to use another artist, or you might want to just develop a pattern of your own. Now remember, a pattern is something that repeats itself. These rectangles are looking rather a lot like squares, aren't they? So, let's have a look. We've got that. I might go purple, green, orange, orange, purple, green, orange, orange, purple, green. So you can imagine that I'm sticking this to my 3D item. Orange. And when you think about the Mondrian picture, you can see there's a kind of connection there, that your eye will have a certain rhythm when going across these pictures. So just to recap, find yourself a 3D item that's been thrown away, nice and clean. Cover it in papier-mâché, at least 4 layers. Use small pieces of newspaper. Use whatever adhesive you have available. You might even have a little bit of PVA you can mix some water with. I've used Mondrian as my inspiration, and I would stick, once my papier-mâché is dry, I will stick these rectangles on it to create a piece of 3D artwork. Now these 3D artworks always look better when there's a group of them. So don't stop at one. Produce a range of them. Produce more than one of them. Well done. So this week we've been looking at 3D or 3-dimensional work. Hopefully you've managed to papier-mâché from the French, meaning chewed up paper. Hopefully you've managed to papier-mâché and some paste to cover a 3D object that you might have got from maybe your recycling bin. And hopefully you've managed to successfully decorate the surface of your 3D object. Now the example I gave you was inspired by Mondrian, but you can come up with your own inspiration. Once you've finished one, maybe you'll be tempted to do another. Next week, we'll be going back and doing a bit of drawing. See you then.